So also from my side, from the side of Polis, a warm welcome to all of you at this first training workshop of the TIDE project. As Siegfried just mentioned, I will be taking you through the overall purpose and mission of the TIDE project and just set the context for what will be the real detailed discussions that will follow afterwards. So the mission statement of the TIDE project really is to make a range of new and feasible solutions more easily accessible. And these solutions should be able to address key challenges that the urban transport field is facing. Just to name a few: energy efficiency, decarbonization, safety, demographic changes, the economic challenge that we're all facing today, and so on. More concretely, we will be looking at the broader take-up of a selection of 15 innovative urban transport and mobility measures that currently, because of their innovation character, are not that widespread yet. But what we hope to do with this project is establish them as more mainstream measures, because they do have the potential to help us address the challenges I just mentioned. So basically what we want to do is create a more favorable climate for innovation. And in very concrete terms, that means we want to shorten the implementation path towards the deployment of innovation in cities and regions across Europe. But when we talk about innovation, what do we actually mean by that? The definition that we have adopted within the context of TIDE is that we see innovation as an idea, a practice, or an object that is perceived as new by an individual or other unit of adoption. And in addition, that provides a better solution to existing challenges compared to traditional measures in the urban transport and mobility field. So basically, this innovation has a higher potential to respond to the current challenges that I mentioned compared to already well-established measures. In TIDE, we will be adopting a pragmatic perspective, because we're well aware that what is perceived as mainstream in some countries in Europe is actually still quite new in other parts of Europe. So what we will be adopting as an approach is that solutions should be comparably new to large parts of Europe. In terms of the target groups that we will be looking at within the context of the TIDE project, we'll be dealing with so-called innovators, so people that we could call pioneers, or cities that we could call pioneers, and that really implement an innovation for the first time. Then you have the group that follows, the early adopters, that look at these initial limited applications and feel inspired by it, and also decide to give it a try. And then you have the early majority that comes next and is also open to deploying innovation and following the lead of these first two groups that I just mentioned. So those will be the groups that we will be looking at in the TIDE project. In terms of the activities that we will carry out, so we want to offer you networking opportunities through events such as this one. And the aim is really to bring together a wide range of stakeholders that can exchange among each other on urban transport innovation in general, and these 15 measures in particular. So we want to spread knowledge on these measures, and we want to provide guidance at the same time, which means that we will be developing a wide range of tools and products that should encourage and enable all of you to work towards the actual take-up of transport innovations. So we really want to make sure that our activities favor a climate in which these measures become more widespread and actually become more widely implemented. We think in that respect it's important to focus on real life, to focus on very practical showcases. So we'll be looking at cities that take the lead, that show how they have gone through the implementation process in their localities, and how you could follow their example. So we'll be working with cities on different levels, and we'll be demonstrating how you can include these innovative approaches in your own specific local urban transport policies. I just mentioned we'll be working with different groups of cities at different levels, and this is the approach that we have adopted. There's a so-called first layer of cities, and these are the 5 partner cities in the TIDE project. We can consider them leading cities in the sense that they have been pioneering, they have been taking the lead in implementing certain innovations, or are in the process of implementing such innovations. You will meet them in the respective cluster sessions that will be taking place throughout the next 2 days. And then we have a second group of cities which we call the champion cities. These are cities that are very open to implementing innovation as well, and are very keen on going through a process within the context of the TIDE project of developing an implementation scenario for their own specific context. How can they implement a certain urban transport innovation in their own policy? Which steps do they need to take? Which barriers do they need to address? Which challenges may they be facing? And what are the success factors? So this is an exercise that we are doing together with these cities. Then we come to the third layer, and that's where you come in. So the circle of innovative cities, the cities that we will be training. So also you are very interested in innovation and keen to learn from the other cities that I've just mentioned, and from measures that reflect innovation and that you feel could help you address the challenges that you are facing locally within the urban transport field. So this is where you come in, basically. Just to give you an idea of the leading and the champion cities, so the first and the second layer cities, these are the ones that we have been working with over the last year already. And in one of the following presentations that will be given by Bonnie, we will see the impressive third layer of cities, so the group of innovative cities that is currently present in this room and that will complement this map. And we'll have a very nice coverage all over Europe with all of you here together. So we're very happy with your enthusiastic response and your interest in becoming involved in the TIDE activities. Now, which working steps are we following within the project to really accomplish the goals that I've just mentioned? In the first phase of the project, we selected which 15 innovative measures we really wanted to work on across the thematic areas of the project. In that respect, we did a survey among our target groups, among you as cities, to make sure that we were addressing measures that actually are of interest to you and that you think could really help you address the challenges you're facing. And then we selected the champion cities I mentioned before, and you, the training cities that are present here today. Once we had chosen the innovative measures we wanted to study, we looked at them from a transferability point of view. How can you transfer this concrete measure from one particular context to another context? So from one city, basically, to another city in Europe, each with their own specifics, each with their own local context conditions. And on the basis of that, we are developing very concrete guidelines for implementers that take you through a step-by-step process on how you can implement these measures, looking at success factors, looking at barriers for implementation. The third and very central working step within the overall activities of the TIDE project relate to the development of the implementation scenarios and the preparation for actual take-up of these innovative measures. So that's where we are working with the TIDE partner cities and the TIDE champion cities that I mentioned to you before. And then we have the training and exchange activities, which we are kicking off today, basically, and in which you are participating. And then a fifth and final activity within the project relates to looking at cost-benefit aspects of the measures, at the impact analysis of measures, and also at formulating research and policy recommendations, which also will feed into future activities on the European level and future European funding opportunities. Coming back to today and tomorrow, so the training and exchange activities. So our aim is to train 50 European cities through dedicated events as this one on the successful implementation of the innovative measures covered in TIDE. And we really want to come to a very intense exchange between the TIDE cities, the 3 levels I mentioned, within each of the thematic clusters that TIDE is covering. In addition to these real-life events, let's say, we will also be offering webinars and e-learning activities so that we can reach out to an even wider circle of cities and that you can also consult additional online tools after having participated in this meeting to get maybe more detailed information on the individual measures. And then we'll also be encouraging discussion on SUMP, Sustainable Urban Mobility Plans, a very high priority on the European level as well. And we'll also be looking at highly innovative cutting-edge solutions, as we call them, with the most advanced cities among you. So let's say the real innovators that really want to take up a challenge of exploring the implementation of a very innovative measure. Now, who's doing all of this within the context of the TIDE project? So Polis is a project coordinator, and we work very closely together with the technical coordinator, which is Ruprecht Consult. And then we have the different thematic clusters. I'll quickly go through them, and I'll ask the respective TIDE partners to raise their hand as well, so that will also help you to identify the people that you will be working with in the breakout sessions later today and tomorrow. So cluster 1 is focusing on new pricing measures, and this cluster is being led by the City of Milan and WSP Sweden, so Milan and WSP in the back of the room. The second cluster focuses on non-motorized transport, so cycling and walking topics, with the City of San Sebastian and Ruprecht Consult. Cluster 3 looks into advanced network and traffic management to support traveller information, and is led by Reading Borough Council and the University of Southampton. Cluster 4 is covering electric vehicles with the City of Rotterdam, as well as the Fraunhofer Institute, so our local hosts. And finally, the fifth cluster addresses public transport organization with the City of Budapest and the University of Gdansk. There and there. Then we have two more partners involved in the project which cover more horizontal activities. So that's the Wuppertal Institute, and they're looking at a very important aspect of cost-benefit analysis. And then Eurocities, the network of cities, that is together with Polis working on the dissemination activities, so all kinds of communication activities to reach out to an even wider group of cities beyond this room, let's say. I'll quickly go through the respective clusters to show you the different measures that are being addressed. You also find more detailed information on these measures in the brochure that you have received when you registered at the desk. And also, of course, within the respective cluster sessions, you will find more detailed information. If you're attending one cluster, but you're also interested in another cluster, feel free to use the networking opportunities we will have throughout the next 2 days to also link up with other people that are more involved in the other clusters. Because, of course, the idea is also to come to integration, and one of the factors of success for innovation is also to have an integrated approach where you bring different measures together into successful packages, let's say. So cluster 1, pricing measures, covers road user charging in urban areas, parking charge policies, and efficient and convenient pricing and charging for multimodal trips. Cluster 2, non-motorized transport, looks at innovative bicycle parking schemes, people-friendly streets and public spaces, and fast cycling lanes. Cluster 3, on advanced network and traffic management to support traveller information, looks into the very hot topic of open data through the open data server for applications-based traveller information. It's also looking at a very related measure, which is the user-friendly HMI for traveller information. And the third measure they are covering relates to the improvement of bus punctuality by means of bus priority. Electric mobility, another hot topic in Europe, is looking at this area through 3 concrete measures. Clean city logistics, so how can electric vehicles play a role in the logistics field, financing schemes for charging infrastructure, and inductive, so wireless charging for public transport. And finally, the fifth and last cluster covers organizational aspects of public transport, and more concretely, this implies the creation of public transport management bodies for metropolitan areas, the contracting of services that are focusing on the improvement of passenger satisfaction and efficiency, and finally, marketing research as a tool for optimizing public transport. So these are the clusters we'll be looking at in more detail in the coming day and a half. We invite you to have a look at our website, which is meant to be very interactive as well. There is a blog and there is a wiki part to it. You can also submit your own innovative ideas or your own successful cases to the website. We have a Twitter account, and we invite you to tweet about what is coming up in the next 2 days with the hashtag TIDE Workshop. And we also have a LinkedIn group where we can further discuss issues online, and that is called Transport Innovation Deployment for Europe. So this is the end of my presentation. I wish you a very fruitful and interesting exchange in the coming sessions, and well, we'll be talking for sure later on. Thank you.